Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to part 4 of VUMC Worship Arts Technical Training. Now we're on to the light board. Now then, don't let all the sliders and buttons and lights and knobs and all this stuff throw you. It's actually really simple to use because we're only working on 6 lights. You see 7 there, but it's really going to be 6. Number 1 is for the cross. Everybody walks in, they see the cross in the very back. It's lit. Number 1 controls that. Number 2 is for the sermon area, and that's when Pastor Steve or any other pastor are down on the ground by the altar, the wooden altar down there, and they're doing their sermon. Number 3, it says praise no choir. Basically, that is for the entire choir in the background. Number 4, we don't use that anymore, so I put a nice little X on there. Number 5 is for communion. Number 5 controls the lights that connect to the cross, the altar in front of the choir, and the altar downstairs. Number 6 is for the band. It's just a single light that's located just about the area of the projector screen above the band. And number 7 is kind of a new one. We've been playing with it for a while. It's a stage right area. I apologize for my chicken scratch handwriting, but that's what that number 7 means. It's for the area in front of the organ where we normally put the flowers. So we've been showing off the flowers, so that's where that goes. Now then, on to the rest. So then, the way we turn this light board on is we have to make sure all these sliders are brought down. I make sure every slider is brought down for that matter. And behind the screen and that knob, hidden in the back, is a simple little rocker switch. Just reach back there and you'll find it. Turn it on, and you will see lights come up on the light board, and we know we have power going on to the board itself. But we need to make sure to turn on power. We have to make sure that all these sliders are brought down before we do that. So we grab the blue lanyard that is in the top drawer, and it has a square handled key. That's kind of a copper one. That key unlocks this door back here. I have the same kind of key, but it's a little bit different shape. It's more like triangular. That guy goes right into there. We unlock the door. Once you go in, just turn on the light just to the right. And all that junk, don't even worry about that. That's for the youth. We deal with that bank of lights right there. And as it says, make sure the light board's turned on. All the faders are at 0. All those sliders that we were showing you a while ago. And again, it is on before we do anything. Open up the door, and you will see number 33, stage lights. Just simply move that sucker. It's a little bit hard. Just pop it over to the right. Power is now going through the board into our stage lights so that we can control the lights. So go back to the crow's nest, turn off the lights, and we're back in business. Now then, those 8 sliders, not slowly, you can bring them up at any speed you want to, and it doesn't even have to be in this complete order. You can bring them all up, and that gets us up the power. Now that button is the bump mode. Press it once for tog. And as you see, now you can press the button and lights. Lights will come up. Now these are set to come up as quickly as possible. You can also go to the fader knob. If you turn it counterclockwise, you can add time to the fade. This means that I put in 2 seconds. I can put in as much as I want to, but if I go back to the button, I press the button, it will now take that particular light to go from 0 to 100 in 2 seconds. So it's a little slower light fading in and out. It adds a little bit of look to it. Now I'll show you what the sermon light looks like if you press that, and it is for the ground floor area for when whoever is giving a sermon. Number 3 is for, it says praise no choir, but basically it's the choir in the background. The lights are looking a little bit different because we did some switches, but that's the choir in the back. And number 4, again, we don't use anymore. Number 5 is for communion, and that lights up the cross, the altar on the stage, and the altar down on the floor. Number 6 is the new button that we set up for the band, a new light we set up for the band. It is just a single light lit from above and just splashes down on top of them without blinding them, because I know they don't like being blinded and trying to read music at the same time. Number 7 is stage right area. I apologize for my chicken scratch handwriting. That is for the area in front of the organ where we now put flowers, or if we have a guest speaker that wants to stand there, we have a light for them. Very simple, yet very elegant. Now then, some people like to use the fader. Myself, I like to keep it at 0 because I prefer to use the sliders, which you can do. You can bring them up as slow or as fast as you want to, and you are the one that controls the speed and intensity. If you press the button, it goes up to full intensity at the speed you choose. If you choose to use a slider, you can go as slow or as fast as you want. If you notice people in the choir with the choir light, which just came on, if they're covering their eyes, you can bring down the intensity with the slider instead of pressing the button. So I like to have more choice. Other people like to control it with a fader. It is totally up to you. Just make sure you're paying attention, because if you're sitting in this area, you're running easy worship and the light. So you really have to pay attention to them. Now then, to turn this sucker off, we make sure all the sliders are down to 0. So just work your way down, or bring them all down all at once. It doesn't matter. Just make sure that very last one that says GM, that one has to be at 0. Once that's down, back to the power closet. So we haven't turned off the board because we don't want to cause a power flux into the system. Open up that door, pop it to the left, and power is no longer going to the lights. So this guy is ready to be turned off. Simply reach in the back, reach for that rocker, turn it off, and you are done. Congratulations. Nice job.